Aloha, Rich Halverson here. This is ICS321. And let me share my screen. Okay, it's October 29th today. And that puts us around here. Here, October 29th. Okay, I don't believe we've covered chapter 5 yet. So I'm going to kind of breeze through that. And 21 faults, okay. And then I guess, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. And so this transaction, transaction management goes into next week also, because it's pretty intense. It's operating systems. But let's just go over, cover database programming a little bit. And I'm just going to show you all the places that we're practicing the techniques that are described in this section in stored procedures, triggers, and also the APIs down here in 7. So let's go to let's go to the textbook first. Chapter 5, programming languages. Okay, it starts out talking about the sort of theoretically the difference in normal programming languages that we're used to when we think about programming languages like, Java, C++, Python, and so on. And then those are imperative languages. And then there's these declarative languages, which is what SQL is. In the old days, all we had were procedural languages, and then object-oriented languages came along, and sort of by the middle 1990s, before we all started adopting object-oriented languages, we, forced ourselves to practice what essentially became what object-oriented languages forced us to do. Connect methods with data by creating classes. And there was no such thing as classes in procedural languages. Anyway, declarative languages, SQL, there you write an expression which says what you want your result to be, but it doesn't say how to get the result. It talks about, what columns you want to see from what tables, and restricted in this way, restricted in this particular way. And that's like an expression because there's closure where inside, for example, where you're declaring something like a where, you can get operands from other embedded statements, which is what, subqueries is all about. Anyway, so this is sort of a theoretical description there, but there is programming, there is database programming, and in fact, there's procedural SQL programming, which is what we get into in the next assignment. So this talks about that, and it talks about like how you would like underneath it's got to be procedural. So the database engine takes care of taking your declarative select statement and coming up with a procedure to get that data out and give it back to you. It looks at a bunch of things, optimizes it and everything. Here's how it might be if you were to write the procedure for this SQL statement, but the optimizer might modify that a little bit inside the database engine. So let's test your understanding of that. When we talk about database programming, there's let's see, there's embedded SQL in higher level languages, embedded SQL in C. There's a procedural SQL, which is I think this is I think what they're talking about here is stored procedures and triggers, which is what, of course, we're going to get into. And then application programming interface. There's like two APIs can mean two things. APIs can mean the facility inside of a language that allows you to connect to an SQL database and then bring that back into the language, convert it into a data structure of the language, and continue. We'll be doing that. And then also an API can be something that's application program or interface that's stuck on an HTTP server where you send little micro requests for database information, and there's a little program written in Python or PHP which executes the request and gives you back an object in JSON format. Those are also called APIs, and we're going to get into that too. So this talks about API example using C++, C# and ODBC. That's a connector that's available in C#. You gotta include it at the top. I can't remember what the keyword is to include, but anyway, so this is that. This is just concepts. Yeah, not widely used much anymore. So just click through this, and this is best read, and then you can quickly click through that. Embedded SQL is okay. So this is a C program, and then you stick SQL inside of a C program like that. Format of an SQL statement. This is an entire SQL statement. It's probably a single SQL statement. So anyway, you can click through this to exec. Which statement is correct embedded SQL syntax? Well, I'm not sure what's the difference between these two. Oh, do we have to have a semicolon at the end? Is that what that is? Let me just click through. Do we have to have a semicolon? We do have to have a semicolon at the end. So it's this one here. All right, so so anyway, you can click through this to make sure you understand that. I've never really done this before. I don't have experience with this. You can share variables too. Cross. Oh, in C. Okay. Well, this we don't expect any experience. Well, we don't expect you to have any C experience, although you may. All right. Oh, there's concept of a cursor. We see that in Python when we are gonna at the very end we're gonna write a little Python program that accesses MySQL. and the concept of there's a concept of a cursor there. So, okay, so you should click through this to make sure you understand these concepts, get the points. Okay, here we talk about stored procedures, procedural SQL. That's called SQL, that's nice. In the last assignment, in the next assignment, we're going to do this, but we're going to use the PHPMyAdmin to help us create the procedure, and PHPMyAdmin will produce this, but we can see it. If we go to the assignment, now might be not a bad time to go to the assignment. Let's go to assignment 5. Yeah, this is a good time. Let's see. Is this a good time? Let me see where we are here. Oh yes. Well, is there anything procedure? Okay, you'll experience all this. Yeah, this is a better way to declare variables than what I have you do. Okay, so yes, you should definitely go through this. Maybe you want to go through this first. Oh yeah, concept of a cursor in here too. It's where you are in the record set that was returned from the select statement. It's what record you're on, because you're going to access what is returned from a select statement, which is a table, but you can access it one row at a time, usually. Here's the concept of a trigger. Okay, so if we go to the assignment, this Queen Anne Curiosity Shop triggers and procedures. In the last video that we finished yesterday, we just finished this video yesterday, so go back up one video in the playlist and okay. The last video in the playlist, I did the SQL statement, so that's what that is. Here again is a pretty straightforward. This part is really straightforward because I give you the SQL. So all you have to do is create the database and then run the SQL, and boom, 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 your thing is there. You might have to, well, anyway, I think I'm not sure this is necessary for the triggers and so on, but anyway, it's okay if you do. It's good if you do it. I think you might have to account for it. Anyway, these assignments they change a little bit from semester to semester, and that's kind of where I'm not going to say I do it on purpose, but the change is small enough where you have to understand what's going on to see the subtle difference. One subtle difference is that in this video, I can't remember what assignment I call it, but I think in the video for the procedures, it could be the same assignment, and then I split this assignment, the Queen Anne assignment, into 2 assignments. The first one's creating the database and the SQL, and the second one is the stored procedures and the trigger. Okay, so now this assignment is actually quite easy. The trigger, I think this trigger works, but it doesn't work in all cases, and you have to make a slight modification to it, I think. So it's easy, and the key is that this works. So at least you got something that works, and what this trigger does is it'll increment the sale item ID. Okay, in the in this database, the sale item database or table, the sale item table has got it's a composite primary key. Part of the key is the sale ID, and the second part of the key is just a second field that increments when more items are added to a sale. So if there's 7 items in a sale, that second column, which is part of the composite primary key, would increment, like sale item ID would be okay. So this takes care of the auto increment. So that means that when you're writing a value into or when you're adding something to the sale item table, when you're adding an item to a sale, you don't have to figure out what that second part of that part of the composite primary key is. This will do it. The trigger will do it. So it sees it coming in, and then it'll figure it out and fill it in. Okay, so how does the trigger work? Well, it goes and looks at all of the sale items for that particular sale that are already in the table, and it finds what the maximum sale item ID is already in there. So in other words, so there can be gaps, but let's say the maximum sale ID is 10 that it finds in there. Then what this does is it increments that value by 1, and that's what gets stored in when the insert actually takes place. So this is a before insert trigger. Okay, so and you set it when the trigger is supposed to check. It can be before anything that will modify the table, or after anything that will modify the table. So anyway, in this trigger here, you see that if there is a previous value for, or if there already is something in the database table, if the sale already has an item, then this is going to return a value. There's going to be something there, and so there's something to increment. But what happens when there's no when the sale item table does not have any items for that particular sale, for a new sale? What happens? Well, you're supposed to fix that. Okay, so anyway, that's missing in here. So that's this trigger assignment. And by the way, the videos are very good. I clicked on it earlier. I clicked on this earlier today. Let's click on it now. And it's pretty recent. And they put these ads in front of my videos. Just have to put up with that, I guess.
Writing's not that easy.
Four,
Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct.
There's actually one earlier that I watched. It was pretty good.
Today I'm going to do assignment 4. So let me share my screen.
My hair was longer.
And so I'm looking at the assignment here.
Okay, so here I called it assignment 4. I think it's because I rearranged assignments. But you can see it's the trigger and the store procedure. But it's a set.
And it's table sale item, and it's a before trigger, before after. So we want to do this before the actual insertion takes place.
See, so that's what I was talking about earlier. And so it goes through and it does all of it.
Insert into sale item.
All right. So you can go through that, and here the store procedure at the end. Where's the picture?
Sale item, right? Yeah.
So this is the.
All right.
Still in the.
Yeah. So I can just basically hit refresh.
Oh, we're still on the trigger on this one. Okay, good. Okay, so that's the end of the trigger, and then here's the store procedure. The way the store procedure works is see, I actually give you this is actually what an export looks like. So I've typed in for here, the way I made this is I got the store procedure running, got it to run. Yes, I got it to run. And then I took out some of the statements. And then I did, I got it to run. Then I did an export, and this is what came out almost. But then I took out some statements. I took out some of the statements. I put comments in their place. And what you're supposed to do, pretty much. And then what you're supposed to do is, and I gave you what those statements are that I pulled out. Okay. So this is just figuring out which statement down here should go in up here. Okay. Okay, so you have to figure that out, and one of it is setting error codes, and I tell you what I want the error codes to be. If there's something doesn't exist, it's error code 99 or it's 66 or 44. So you have to get them right, and again you have a so here's the video for that one, and you use the grading assistant to fix that. Now, so the grading assistant is not perfect, and in fact, when we get into the next chapter and we talk about transactions, you can see you can sort of you can understand that it is possible that you run the grading assistant on your stuff, and you don't get, and it's like, oh wait, I that table was in there. It says it's not in there. Well, that has to do with that I actually, this grading assistant actually goes over and logs into your account and does an export of your entire database, and then it brings it back over into this FA21.360, whatever, and imports it, and so your database is there, and then it starts testing your database that way. And I've got a longest estimated time, that it would take for that to happen. And sometimes, like if it's the first one of the day, it'll take longer than that, and the finishing of the export doesn't finish. It doesn't, it's a huge transaction, and it doesn't finish creating a view. I think in some of these assignments you have to create a view, and that's takes notoriously a long time. I think it's because everything else has got to be fully exported before it creates it or something. But anyway, so the point is just run it again. And then the other thing is every semester at least one person says, it's not giving me all the points, and I go and I look in there, and it's some peculiar case. I say peculiar, but it's a valid case that the grader doesn't account for or something, and so it's the grader's problem. So it's a bug in the grader. So if you ever think the grader is nuts and not giving the points you should get, then please email me, and we'll go in there, and and I'm not gonna right away assume that this guy doesn't, so anyway, good, thank you, and thank you for helping me with this, because I use this, I use a form of this in all my classes, even the classes at KCC where I'm just teaching Python. All right, so click on those and watch the videos, and then that's how those are created. And it's 10:09. So I'm not going to go over this anymore. It's pretty easy to do this and do that assignment. Now, I wanted to show you, just go further into the assignments, and you can see where the other programming, there's more programming coming. Okay, that was Queen Anne procedures. Campus cuisine here. This is in this assignment, we're creating a database. This is a normalization thing where this is a database that this is a table that's not in, it's not in BCNF. It's 3NF, but not in BCNF. Why? Because the cuisine depends on the place. The place determines the cuisine, and the cuisine is part of the place is it's a non-key field, but it determines part of the primary key. You can't have that in BCNF. So you got to decompose this into three tables. And so that's the part of this exercise. It just tells you how to do it. And then you make a couple couple triggers here and a store procedure. And in these triggers, you keep things from happening. But this is programming, and here you have to understand this a little bit more, and you write something here. This is a before update trigger, which makes sure that something that you aren't trying to, this is in the table, that's what this table does is it's the favorite place for a campus. For a campus, it's the favorite cuisine type. It's the place of it's the best, like here. This said that this is made up data, but this is the best Mexican restaurant voted. All the students at KCC, let's say this is the best burger joint of all the places of everyone at UHM voted. So the idea is that if you're on a campus or near and you're going to go nearby, what does the campus think is the favorite? That's sort of the scenario behind this silly table here. What this places update trigger goes is let's say somebody gets in here, let's say Teddy's Burgers, someone comes in and they're going to change the cuisine of a place to a cuisine that's already in there. Let's say someone comes in and they want to change Teddy's Burgers to an Italian place, so they want to make this Italian. Well, you can't, because UHM already has an favorite Italian place, and it's this. So you have to write a trigger where if someone's trying to do that update, that it rejects it. Okay, so that's this trigger, and then this is a store procedure, which sort of you're giving it a new place at a campus for a particular cuisine, and this thing goes in and makes sure that the cuisine exists, makes sure that the campus exists, makes sure that if the place is already in there, that the cuisine is consistent, and then finally that the campus doesn't already have a favorite place of that cuisine. Okay, so that's what your store procedure does. This store procedure is a little bit more difficult to write, but there's a video somewhere. There's a video. There is a video. Resources. It's in one of these. Maybe Spring. Well, when we get to it, I'll make sure, because somebody just asked me about this one, and I referenced it for him. That's not Garden Glory, is it? Silent. Let me. It's the best way to do this. Queen. No. Anyway, that's the future. So, there's somebody is finishing incomplete from Spring, and I just referred him to a video. So, of course it wouldn't be here. Okay, so I have to add that bunch of videos to this. I think it's fall 2020 videos, and it's all in a folder. So I'll make sure those are put there. All right, so that's the video for doing this one here. And okay, so these are store procedures. So these go down into MySQL. This is your MySQL account. These are managed by the MySQL database. and they're attached to your login and so on, and they're executed by the MySQL database. And then assignment 7, we see those two kinds of APIs that I talked about. Okay, first of all, we're making some APIs, and these APIs are, okay, so the scenario is assignment 7. It's assignment 6 then. Geez, I don't give you anything to test. I don't give you anything to test these, do I? These are programs that you actually put on your server. Like if we look on Richard H. Now, if we look on mine, it's there's a whole bunch of junk here, but it's like this one, search places.php, and when you run it, displays out all, because I didn't put any parameters, or in the Python version does the same thing. And so that's what you should see. Oh, I didn't put the header tag that tells the browser that this is a incoming JSON object. But of course, so anyway, but they're the same. And then there's also one that tests this one tests your add place stored procedure. This is assignment 7. Okay, so this is search places.php. So you're gonna, you just take this and you put this into your cPanel. You go into cPanel, you go into File Manager, you create an empty file called searchplaces.php. You paste this in, you save it, and you have to put in your username and your password to your cPanel username, your cPanel password, and then that's used to construct your URL, and your database in this case better be called campus. And if there's a query string, it captures what the values that came in. Now this is this API to connect to MySQL. This is the API for the PHP, for your PHP program to connect to the MySQL server. So this is the application is this PHP program, and it's the program, and this is the interface to the MySQL. So it's an API in that sense of the term. Okay, but this whole thing is an API where you have a user, or you have a you have a web page that's got a JavaScript program in there that wants to go get some data from the database, and then it gets back a JSON object, and then it renders a nice table on the browser screen. That's a program, and this whole thing is the API. This is the API. This is the API to access your places database. You see, so this is called an API in that sense of the word, and the API in that sense of the word has this is the API. It inside of it, it's this is also called the API because it's now this search places here works fine to dump everything, but you need to add the SQL. So if campus is something, there's going to be a where clause that's added, where campus equals whatever that is, or if cuisine, where cuisine equals this. And if it's campus and cuisine are specified, it's where campus equals this campus and cuisine equals, so you have to construct the where clause here, and it's kind of in PHP, so it's a little bit, you have to learn a little bit of PHP. I mean, just search the web, it's easy. The thing about PHP only is that all variables start with a $sign. And types are not, enforced. And a variable can change type. So it's a forgiving language. Okay, so that's the PHP version. Here's the Python version of the same thing. Yeah, with that up there, I must not have had it in mind, because this should make it display out like this. But here you have to put in the user, the password. Oh, you got to fix this. It's not that. It's yours. So sorry, I'll fix. I should fix that. This is so you can get at the CGI, and I've named the I've named the variable, the dictionary. It's a dictionary underscore request, just because it's kind of like what I name it up here, what it's named up here. This is a reserved array. I mean, this is how you get at the name value pairs that come in from a browser. This is how you get them. And so I thought I would just name, and down here, this can be named anything, but I just thought I'd name it the same, just so it makes sense. And so this tests to see if there is a campus that came in as a name value pair. If there is, it sets a variable campus equal to that. Otherwise it's blank. And this is how you do that. It's a dictionary. So you are referencing, this is the key, referencing the element in the dictionary, the item in the dictionary. Same with cuisine, same with place, and this is the API, Python API to MySQL. Same thing, you got to put the same kind of if then, and this is how you do if then in Python. This creates this thing that gets returned. This is a PHP API to test the stored procedure that you created. You write this stored procedure. This is the PHP version of it, and I don't give you the. Oh, really? I don't give you that. Well, there must be a video on it or something. I guess I'll make a video on it. I think I made it, but yeah, there's a video for this one. So I will reference that. I'm quite sure the video for this one, I'm quite sure the video for that one is already in resources in the summer playlist. Because I think I just added that to that assignment. Wow, here we go. Look at this. Add place API in Python. Remove place API in Python and PHP. Okay, so you got to look at these past videos. All right, so I'm done with chapter 5. So we're just learning about all these term API, how you can integrate SQL. In C# it's different, but there's various degrees of how much of the SQL is just raw SQL. You put the statement there and execute the statement, or you gotta sort of build it with built-in methods and so on, and objects with built-in methods. C# is sort of in between. But anyway, so I think that's it for chapter 5, and I've sort of given you an introduction to the programming assignments that are coming up, And I will copy over the fall 2020 video list into this one, so you have access to how to do the store procedure in assignment 6. Anyway, so thanks. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.